So I have a question for you. Do you want to take photographs like this? Or maybe even like this? Or hell, you could even take a picture like this. And of course, there is two different ways you can summon light sources. For instance, you can use the dynamic light here, which summons a light on a rope. Now, of course, this isn't really perfect because, as you can see, it creates a very blocky kind of texture, and that's not really what most people want. Or, of course, you can use the lamp, and this is going to create a directed light that you can then aim, but sometimes you can't cover a giant circular area. I mean, for instance, you have to go way up here, increase the FOV, and sometimes there's not even enough ceiling, and you end up with a small spotlight. But of course, today we're going to change that. This is a mini-mod showcase, and this is BlendLight. So BlendLight is going to give you two different options that you can choose, similar to the two ones that I just gave you. First things first, we have the point light. And what this is going to do is, well, pretty much you spawn it, and it creates a light in a circular area. So not only do you get an amazingly smooth light, which you of course didn't get with, if you guys remember, that old light we had, we can see it's kind of boxy, and it just doesn't look as good. In fact, I'll go over here, and you can kind of see the comparison here. And also, there's not a whole lot you can do to fix that. So, unlike with the spotlight where you can change some of the modes, definitely going to take a look at that later in the video, but you even also get the advantage of course, seeing the area that the light spreads out to. And I'm guessing this is just like it is in Blender. And of course, you also don't have to worry about it being on a rope. You could pretty much just spawn it wherever you want. And you can even adjust the brightness, the radius, and the shadow. Now, shadow is something that we're going to get into a little bit later, but let's go ahead and spawn a bigger light here. In fact, we can probably just spawn one light and light up this entire place. Alright, so we're going to increase the radius and a bit of the shadow and the brightness. And look at that. It's almost as if we just lit up this entire room. Alright, so I am trying to figure out what shadow does. We can see that's what that looks like with shadow all the way down. But if we do crank it all the way up, I mean, it doesn't really look all that different. Maybe it's a bit darker. So we might have to include certain things into the scene. Here we go. The best thing about these radio lights here is that you can create these amazing shading effects. And even though it does look pretty good on items, it looks even better with NPCs. And of course, by NPCs, I mean models because, well, NPCs might not do exactly what you want them to do. But I think my favorite part about this light is, again, just the absolute smoothness. Not only in the shadows, but in pretty much anything. Whoa, this actually looks pretty cool. But even the shading and the smoothness of the actual light itself looks really nice. So you do get a good gradient from being dark to bright, but we're now going to delete all this and take a look at the next thing, and that is going to be the spotlight. So this one is not going to be as good of a replacement because, I mean, the thing that's cool about it is you can press left click to point wherever you want, but you cannot pick it up. So once it's put down, that's pretty much it. However, you can press right click, and this is going to spawn the light exactly where you're looking at, which is kind of how like the camera works, for instance. Now, of course, naturally, this does look good with certain NPCs, especially from different angles here. So once you spawn these spotlights in, then you can take the pictures you want or do whatever it is you wish with them. However, it does kind of suck that you can't move it once it's put down. Now, of course, you could spawn multiple in if you want to make the scene even brighter. And once again, these lines here show you pretty much the spread of the light, and it gives you a good idea of exactly how that all works. Alright, so now I think we should do a comparison. By the way, guys, with the point light, you can press right click and it will spawn a light exactly where you are, so you don't have to point and click where you want to spawn it, just like with the spotlight. Alright guys, so just a comparison of what the shadow feature looks like. So this is with shadow cranked all the way up. Now I'm going to delete it and then crank it all the way down. And it does look like it makes the shadows a bit darker. So if you feel like your light source isn't making your shadows dark enough, definitely check this mod out because it does pump up the shadows quite a bit. Alright guys, sorry, I know this video is really all over the place. So now we're going to do a comparison. So this is with the spotlight. What we're going to do is we're going to summon a lamp and try to mimic exactly what this looks like. And you're going to notice something immediately. One, this light is really sharp and has an instant cutoff point. while this one has more of a soft shadow, pretty much more like a gradient that slowly fades darker and darker. So if you want that nice soft lighting look, this is going to be a lot better, plus it doesn't blind you when you look at it. Now, there is a way to make the lamp look a lot closer to this, and that's using the soft shadow feature here, because you can obviously change how these look. Some of them are pretty goofy looking. But here we have the soft shadow, and this is where it gets interesting, because if we kind of pull it back to where it's almost even, you're going to notice that it is now very similar to this, although this does seem a little bit brighter, but you can of course adjust that in the settings here. So when it comes down to which one actually does look better, well, I think you're going to get great results with both, and I don't think that's going to be the deciding factor, except for of course the fact that you can adjust the shadows. And I think it's also important to note that unlike with the point light, you cannot adjust the shadows. You can only adjust the brightness, the distance, and the FOV, the same thing as the lamp. So there you guys go. There's nothing really too crazy about this, but I thought it would be a really cool mod to showcase. And if any of you guys out there who love taking pictures, for instance, this is going to be a lifesaver when it comes down to shading or getting certain angles. Or if you just want an easier time to place lights down, this is a pretty sick mod. But guys, I would love to hear your thoughts down below. As always, leave a like and subscribe if you do want. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Links will be in the description. And definitely do suggest a mod down below if you want to see a mod in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, farewell.